My worst psychiatrist appointment ever. This one takes the cake. It is by far the worst psychiatrist that I had ever been to. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit the like and subscribe button. My name is Eric. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm none of that. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, and MDD. I lost a wife and a father to suicide, and I am a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. This is the worst experience with a psychiatrist that I'd ever had. Now, a psychiatrist and psychologists are different. Psychiatrists do prescribe medications. And this appointment actually wasn't my appointment. It was my third wife. And my third wife, her name is Brandy. And Brandy took her life in 2015. I did go to a variety of different psychiatrists and psychologists with her, trying to get her the help needed. And the worst appointment that I'd ever been to was actually with a psychiatrist, and it was in Cypress, California, which is in Orange County, California. When you're looking for a psychiatrist or even a psychologist, you're going through usually your network to find out who accepts the insurance, who doesn't accept the insurance. The one thing that I wanted, though, is I was more about, let's just trial and error through doctors. I'd trialed and errored my whole life with doctors. Thanks to my parents helping me through that process. And so I wanted to do the same with her, try and speed up the process a little bit. So she was struggling, and I found her a psychiatrist that was here, and he was a gentleman. And when I ended up reading on the website and stuff, there was nothing that really ended up saying, I specialize solely in ADHD and Adderall. Now, this doctor did. That was what he specialized in, ADHD and Adderall. Now, take into effect, my wife and I were both addicts. At that time, I was just an alcoholic. She was an alcoholic. She also was addicted to benzos, which were Xanax. So we go and we both smoke. We go to this appointment, and she'd been used to doing this now with me a little bit. She was the one that had asked me to help her with it, so I was all for it. And every time we would go to an appointment, I was a little bit excited. I got there early. I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable. I really held her hand through a lot of the process. I went to every appointment with her, not to go in with the therapist, but just to be there as that support for her. So we go to this doctor, and we get into the office, and just like any office, the one thing that's hard with psychiatrists and psychologists' office, psychologists, I've noticed that their offices are usually a little bit warmer. Psychiatrists, it's like you're in a doctor's office. It's white walls. There's a black table with magazines on it, and all the chairs match, and they all have little armrests, and there's like 5 or 6 of them, and there might be a TV up there. I mean, it's sterile. There's a couple generic pictures or whatever on the wall, and that's about it. Every time I stare at those pictures, I don't see the sailboat. But we are there. The appointment time, I pay for it. It was partial. I had to pay my copay, paid up front, all that. Sitting and waiting, and so they come out, and their Brandy Zinc, come on back. So she leaves. And I'm used to how the first initial psychiatrist appointment usually goes. It's usually about almost an hour, usually, is what that appointment's like. And pretty much that whole time they're asking you questions, kind of getting you a feel out. They're usually going to prescribe you meds that first appointment to start the trial and error process. I was out there. I did what I normally did, sitting reading the magazines, going, okay, I got an hour to kill. Usually I would go outside during the process, maybe smoke a cigarette, come back inside. Well, about 20 minutes into the process, the doctor pops open the door. He's like, you need to come back here. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is a first. I had appointments with her before where I was asked to come back into the appointments, and it was more for us to start communicating about something maybe she wasn't telling me or that I needed to work on and stuff like that, which was cool. But this doctor pops out in a fucking panic. He's like, dude, sir, you need to come back here. You need to come back here. I get into the office, and it's a really dark office, a lot of plaid, books, of course, all on the wall. I don't know why they do that. Doctor's sitting across from us, and she is sitting there fucking bawling. And she is fucking, I mean, it wasn't just crying, it was fucking bawling. It was ugly crying. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? So I sit down next to her, I'm like, babe, what's going on? And he's like, I can't understand a word that she's saying. And as soon as he said it that way, I'm like, you motherfucker. You don't talk to somebody like that. Like, it was out of pure frustration and pure anger and like, this is bullshit type talking to me. Well, you obviously did something that pissed my wife off. You obviously did something to break her down. So she's not even able to really speak. And so he goes in and starts going, well, this is what you guys are going to need to do, because it's obviously that she's probably dealing with some form of ADHD. And I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about, dude? Like, to be real, I mean, anybody that I've been with has always snuck one or two of my Adderall to see how it feels. And none of them really ever get the same effect that I do. I calm down and do all this. Everybody else is high as a fucking kite and they think it's the greatest thing in the world. It's like that magic energy pill. For me, it helps me get through the fucking day. And I'm going, dude, she's taken Adderall before and it don't do what you think it's going to do, sir. I didn't say that. I'm not in the mood, because he's telling me now what I need to do. Okay, sir, you're obviously expert here. And he goes, so because she's ADHD and we need to get her on this medication, I need to find out exactly what's going on and we need to get the testing done. But before we do this, in the next 30 days, she needs to have quit drinking and been sober and to stop smoking cigarettes. Oh, okay. Do you realize where we're at? Do you realize that we're in your office, sir? Do you realize that my wife's breaking down right now and I'm going to go home and, well, we're both alcoholics, so we're going to detox now for the next 30 days so that you can do this test, have her stop taking any of the medications that she's taking and to quit smoking. Are you fucking stupid? And I looked at the guy and I'm like, what? And he goes, so before we go any further, this next appointment is going to be set up. And he tells me the date. It was, we went in like May, and so it was set for like April. And he goes, so at this next appointment, what she needs to do is she needs to have been sober off of alcohol for 30 days. She need to stop all the medications and smoking so that we can properly test her to find her the right dosage of Adderall that she's going to need to help her. And I'm going, dude, this is bullshit. Like, one, we aren't jiving, dude, for one. You got her broken down. She hasn't said now a single word since I've been in here. She's latched to my arm crying. And you're telling me what we need to do, which are major lifestyle changes. And sir, you obviously have never been addicted to alcohol. I mean, I'm just building up with fumes. And he goes, and next time she's here, she needs to compose herself better so that we can actually have a conversation. And I was like, you know what? At this point, just stop. I was like, dude, just stop, bro. At this point here, I'm done. I'm not coming back to you. This was by far the worst psychiatrist appointment I'd ever experienced in my life or in anybody else's life. And I'm like, we're out of here, dude. Like, no. And I grabbed my wife and I grabbed extra tissues because it was my way of saying, fuck you, sir. I'm taking more tissues of yours. And we walked out of there. And I was so angry. I got her outside and she just broke down. And she's like, you don't understand how he's talking to me. And I'm like, oh, I do. That's why we left. We left with like a good 15, 20 minutes left. I mean, in the middle of 5 minutes, he pretty much has pissed me the fuck off. If it was my doctor, I would have been out of there a lot sooner. And I even told her, babe, next time that this happens, get up and just walk out. Like, I don't care. I'll pay for the session and we'll find another doctor. You don't have to be put through that. It was by far the worst experience. I mean, I even got to the point that I literally, because I'd been in sales, I was like anti-Yelp even. I literally built a Yelp account to leave them a bad Yelp review. That's how mad I was. And how hurt I was that a doctor would do this to somebody and not have any remote understanding for what somebody is going through. And so that's why I am very pro-therapist. But I'm also very pro in trial and error and finding the right therapist. That if you don't have that connection with a therapist, don't hesitate to get up and just walk out. And I know that this therapist probably helped some people out there. I know that. That's how therapy works. It's trial and error. But if the therapist and you are not connecting, walk out. And it's okay to. And it's okay to trial and error to find the right therapist. And knowing the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. A psychologist is going to help you more with life skills and keep you accountable and have you find coping tools. Where a psychiatrist is more medication driven. So remember that. And again, it's trial and error to find out what works for you. Even after this horrible experience, we even went and still saw other doctors out there. And that's part of what it is of trial and error, finding the right doctor. And once you do find the right doctor, it's amazing what can happen. It's amazing the breakthroughs that you can have. So don't ever give up. If you have a horrible first time experience, it just means, you know what, odds are, because of all the doctors I've been through, I've only had, that was the worst by far. And I've had a couple that were mainly I got out and I was just like, I don't really trust the person, or I didn't really feel the connection. But odds are that the next doctor that you go to, you're probably going to have a way better connection with. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below. I'd love to hear your comments because I am so pro therapy, trial and error, finding what works for you, that the more that we share our experiences and tools and resources, the more that it helps anybody out there struggling. I've done everything I can to bridge the gap between a crisis hotline and therapy. All the in-between of experiences, resources, tools, coping techniques to help anybody fighting through every single day. In the description are links to all my different social medias. I have links to the mental health Discord communities. It's peer-to-peer support. I have links down below to my website. I even have links down below to things on Amazon that I use, like fidget cubes and fidget spinners, things that help me when I'm struggling with my anxiety. Even have a link down below to BetterHelp. It's trial and error to find the right doctor and to find the right type of therapy that works for you. So don't give up. You're a BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You've made it through 100% of your worst days to make it through 2 today. So don't forget that. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's do this together.